That's it.
Al Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Nedarim Daf Memchet Amud Aleph 48a1. We're just starting on 47b by the Mishnah. Okay, so 47b, the Mishnah. Hareni alecha cherem. What does that mean? I'm prohibiting an isur on you, ta'ana, like a cherem. Okay, amudar asur. So the one that's mudar is asur le'not mimenu. But the noder is allowed to benefit from him, which means I come and I say to you, yeah, that areni mudar lecha cherem. So I'm allowed to benefit from you, but you're not allowed to benefit from me. Hare ata lai cherem. But if you say that this is going to be a sur unto himself to benefit from his friend, so noder asur, right? But the friend is permitted. So now it's the opposite, because now he says you are to me like a cherem. Hareni alecha ve'ata lai. He said both. Hareni alecha ve'ata lai on both stadim. Shnehem asurim. Both of them are going to be prohibited. Okay? Ushnehem mutarim bedavar shelo lebavel. But both of them are going to be permitted to benefit from something which is going to be for the tzibur, right? Because it's not like it's, the fact that it's going to be b'turat shutafut, right? That's what he says, ba'alut bo b'turat shutafut. So it's like ola bavel is going to be permitted. Ve'asurim, and it's going to be prohibited bedavar shelo ta'ir, and something that has to do with the city that they're living there. So, because if you remember the concept of, so therefore, he comes and he says as follows. So he says, right, that it's going to be, or the things which are going to be pro bavel is going to be permitted. Okay, which basically means nechasim sheyadam shel kol Yisrael shaveh bahem, ve'enam shel bnei makom bilvad. Right, but if it's going to be, right, things of the city, it's going to be prohibited. Ve'ezeh davar shel ole bavel. What is the things? What are the things which are ole bavel? So he says, Kegon Harabayit. Are you guys listening? Harabayit. Azarot. Right? Ve'abor shebe'emtza derech. Or pits of water, which are in the middle of the path in order for them to benefit from them. Right? It was basically like drinking waters. They used to make pits in the middle of the path in order for them to drink. Ve'ezeu davar shelo ta'ir. So what belongs to the city? Kegon ha'rechava ve'amerchatz u'bet ha'kneset ve'ateva v'sfarim. For example, the Kikar Ha'ir. That's called the Rechava. The Rechava is like the how do you call this? Yeah, it's like the Kikar Ha'ir. It's like the city center, or the Merchatz Ha'ir, or the Bet Knesset of the Yid, or a Teva V'Sfarim. So these are all things which belong to the city. So things of the city is permitted. Things of Ole Bavel is going to be permitted. Says the Mishnah, Ve'akotev Chelko Lenasi. Imagine right now, the Mishnah is going to bring another concept that it's going to be prohibited, right? But it's going to be, that's what it says, things which are davar shelo ta'ir, ve'akotev chelko lenasi, right? That means if he's going to be makneh his nechasim to the nasi, right? Yeah, he comes and he says like this. He says if he's going to come and he's going to write all his chelik to the nasi, so then it comes out, it's not the chelko of the mudar anymore, it's to the nasi, so it's of everybody. Okay? לא הבנתי. מעשר או ירושה? מה זה? זה לא מעשר, הוא כתב כל נכסיו, זה לא מעשר וזה לא ירושה, זה בחיים. רבי יהודה אומר, רבי יהודה comes and he says, אחד כותב לנשיא ואחד כותב לאדיוט. Doesn't matter whether you wrote off all your properties to a נשיא, or you wrote off all your properties to האדיוט, מה בין כותב לנשיא, so what's the difference between הנשיא and האדיוט? שהכותב לנשיא אין צריך לזכות. If you're going to write all your properties to the נשיא, you do not have to come and to be mizakeh oto, right, through somebody else in order that the Yisur will go out. But le'ediot tzarich lezakot. Meaning like this, if you're going to come, you're going to say it belongs to the ruler of the country. So there's no need for kinyan, there's no need for anything. Automatically it goes to him. If you come and you want to say that it belongs to an individual, you have to be mizakeh to the individual. What? What is the din? That for the difference between the nasi and the idiot was that for a nasi you don't have to be mezakeh, for a idiot you do have to be mezakeh. Chachamim omrim chachamim say echad ze v'echad ze tzrichi lezakot. You do have to be mezakeh also to a nasi. So what's the difference between them? Velo dibru benasi elo bo'aveh. The only reason why they brought down nasi was just because that's the normal. Meaning if you're already giving it to somebody, many times they will give it to the king, to the highness. You understand? Like to the nasi, that was the norm. You understand? That was like a dibru be'oveh. Rabbi Yehuda says. אין אנשי הגליל צריכים לכתוב, שכבר כתבו אבותינו על ידיהם. Says they don't have to write a document to להקנות to the נשיא, right? Why? Because their forefathers already wrote shtarot for them. So therefore, they don't need all these things. Okay? Gemara Memchet Amud Aleph 48a. So ask the Gemara, Amay mitzar, why is it prohibited for the mudar lishtamesh with these things? Right? Once he doesn't have a chelek, right, in part of it to the Nasi, gamarnu. So Amar Rav Sheshat says Rav Sheshat, hachi ktani. This is what, right, we made a takana. This is what we learned. Uma takanatan, right, what is the takana for these people that they actually prohibited from each other? Yikatvu chilkan nasi, meaning that if you want the takana is like the remedy here. What's the remedy to get out of this problem? Write it to the Nasi. Once you write it to the Nasi, there's no problem. Okay? Next is in the brackets we skip out. Next, Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah? We're by the two dots. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, right? Remember, the round brackets we skip out. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, En anshe galil tzichin lezakot, they don't have to be mizakeh. Shekvar katvu v'tene alidem, because their forefathers already wrote it down. So Tanya we learned on the right, Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda, anshe galil kantarin hayu. They were people that they were very angry with each other. They were people that were always fighting. Anshe Galil? Yes. You heard. Anshe Galil were always fighting with each other. Ta'asanim u'ba'aleh riv.
Why would we skip the
That's what we always do. You always skip the round brackets. You don't skip the square brackets. Right. But we skip it out. Yeah, we skip it out. What happened? No, they were always just like that. They were always people that they were ba'aleh riv. Says it's Rabbeinu Avraham min Nahar. Yeah. No, Anshe Galil. There were 3 sections in Israel. By the way, Galil is in Eretz Yisrael. You know that. זה לא מרוקו. היו, right? והיו נודרין הנאה זה מזה. So they always used to come and they used to be נודר הנאה from each other. עמדו אבותיהם וכתבו חלקי לנשיא. So what did they do? They wrote everything to the Nasi in order that anything that was going to become prohibited for Dorot Habayim because of a neder will never become prohibited because everything was given to the Nasi. So therefore, everything was given to the Nasi. Everything belonged to the Nasi. Yeah, everything belonged to the Nasi.
No, they did that because they were swearing on
Hamudar ana. We are in the Mishnah. Hamudar ana mechavero ve'en lo ma yochal. Imagine right now you are mudar ana from your friend, and what happens is that you have nothing what to eat. Now he wants to give you what to eat. So notno leachel leshum matana ve'hala mutar bat. So if you remember, we already quoted this Mishnah above, right? But it was in the Gemara, obviously. But we quoted this Mishnah. The Mishnah basically just says, give it to a third party, somebody else is a matana, and he, right, will come and he will give it to the person, and it's going to be permitted for him to benefit. Okay, Mitsuya. Maaseh, yeah, a story. Listen to the story. Maaseh be'echad bevet choron, sheya aviv mudar emenu ana. There was a story of a person in Bet Choron that his father was already prohibited to him, right? Hana'ah. Vayamasiet beno. Now, what happened was that the son was getting married. So he wanted to participate in the Suda.
To enjoy.
Yeah, what happened? So he comes and he tells his friend, Chatzeru Suda, my Chatzer in the Sudat Nisuin, Netunim Hinan. Right? Netunim, they're given to you as a present. Hinan lefanecha, right? Basically, it's yours. It's in your possession. Ela kadesh yavo abba v'yochal imenu suda. But it's not just stam that he's giving over the entire thing. That's not a smart idea that you give somebody over your property. He comes and he says it's given over to you,
the party,
just for the fact to do with, basically, like with a condition that the father could participate in the party and to eat in the suda. Amari says, im shelihem. If you're going to tell me that the Chatzer and the Suda is mine, it becomes Hekdesh. What does that mean? It goes to Hekdesh, Shebedek Bayit. Amar lo, he says, Natati lecha et sheli shetakdishem l'shamayim. Says what? I gave you my part in order for you to be Makdish to the Shamayim. I gave you the condition that the only thing that you have to do is in order that my father could be able to come to the Suda and to come to the party, but not to do anything else with it. Amarlo, he says, Natata li et shelcha, ela shetei ata ve'avicha ochlim v'shotin v'tzatzin ze lezeh v'yavon talui berosho. He says, I don't understand. Right? What are you trying to do? You come, right, and you want your father to come to eat, to drink in your party, correct? Now, what are you trying to do? Now, you want to come and you want to make kilu peace with each other, but you have a technical problem. You have a neder against each other. So, what do you guys want to do? You want to come You want to enjoy yourselves, right? Because he's coming to your wedding and everything, and then you want that the avon is going to be on my head. You're throwing me that avon, right? Because he's using him as the one to go against the neder. Because kilu, it's like a back, there's a back door, right? A kombina, if you want to call it in Hebrew, yeah, of what you're doing. So he comes and he says, "Amru chachamim."
Avon on him.
No, but that's what he's saying. He's saying that the avon of hafarat neder is talui bo, because they did like a trick. You understand? Because here he wants to say that since he didn't give him ba'alut kimura, it's not a real matana. It's like harama. It's like a trick, right? Because of the condition. So basically, it's kilo. You're doing a kombina and you're doing it on cheshboni. I don't need that. You understand? That's why he said. So what happened? Amru chachamim, says chachamim, kol matana she'ena she'imigdisha te mekudeshet ena matana. The rabbi said, any type of a matana that you cannot be magdish the matana, which means you cannot come and consecrate it to the Bet HaMikdash, it's not called a matana. So for that was ki'ilu, the if you want to call it the litmus test, right? In order to understand, right? That was the litmus test, right? In order to come and to understand, is it going to be permitted or prohibited? Meaning, can you come and you make it a dish or not? That's what the Gemara is saying. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara. Okay, because we just finished the Mishnah. Says the Gemara towards the bottom of Masechet Amud Aleph. Maaseh listor. Says, I don't understand you. This story, right, was a Maaseh listor. Why? You just told me 2 minutes ago that there was a story with Bet Choron and everything, right? Sorry, before the story. You just told me, you don't have what to eat or whatever it is. What do? You give it to a third party as a present, and then he comes and he takes it. And all of a sudden you brought a story, and the story just told you that it doesn't help. So what's going on? Yeah, what's going on then? Maaseh listor? Because usually if you bring a maaseh in the Mishnah, it's as a proof. It's not a stira, right? Does that make sense? I'm going to tell you a halacha, right? And 2 seconds later, I'm going to give you a story that tells you the exact opposite of the halacha, right? That I just told you. You're going to say, well, what's going on over here? You understand? Like, you're confusing me, Rabbi. Yeah? So says the Gemara, right? Maaseh listor. Answers the Gemara, chasur mechsera v'hachi ktani. Right? We're lacking part of the Mishnah. And this is what you have to have in the Mishnah. V'im ochiach, right? Sofo al tchilato, asur. Meaning you had to add in the words that even though I just said that you could give it to a third party, right? And then the third party could give it to him and he's allowed to benefit from it. If there was a concept that it's muchach me'elav, meaning that you could tell that sofo al tchilato, that it was only just to do the trick, it's going to be asur. And this is the story, which is a proof to the sisor, that if you're just doing it as a trick, it doesn't help. Okay? Which means that it has to be enough that you give it to the third party and he could give it to a Ekdesh and you cannot say anything. You cannot say anything. Nice. Yeah, that's the way it is. Okay? So Amar Rava comes and he says, Lo Shanu, right? But he says, no, 1 second. We're only dealing with because he told them that this is only going to be yours, so that way my father could come. He comes and he says, however, though, what happens if he says that the Chatzer and the Seudah are given to you, they're 100% yours, right? In order that my father could come. So the matana is a matana gimura, because we're saying midatcha udamale, which means shiavo abba is only if you want. He didn't come and he gave it to him as a present. He gave him matana gemura, but he just wanted him to know, right? To that he wants that his father should be there in the wedding. This is his dad, but not I'm giving it to you only on this condition. Because, for example, if I come and I tell John Doe, yeah. So I come and I tell John Doe, yeah, over here, yeah. I come and I tell John Doe, listen, I'm giving this to you on condition that it's not really yours. It's only yours that he could use it, right? So then that's what we just said right now. It's not going to be okay. Why? Because that was not called the real matana. That was like a trick that basically, like ki'ilu, ki'ilu, it's yours. What ki'ilu, it's yours? It's nothing yours. You only have 1% into it of whatever it is. You understand? But here it's a little bit different. Okay, fine. Lishna acharina amrimna, right? Another lashon acher, right? It was brought down in the words of Rabbi. Amar Rava comes and says, Lo teima ta'ama de Elmaleh, right? Don't tell me now that the reasoning why he said Vinan lefanecha u'de'asud But if he said, Hen lefanecha sheyavo Abba v'yochal, mutar. He says, if it's going to be Hen lefanecha, that Abba will come and he's going to eat, it's going to be mutar. Why? Because actually what's happening is, the reason why the rabbi said it's going to be a sud is it's not a real matana, it's like a condition. But he says in such a case, it's going to be a sud. But if he actually just told him, Hen lefanecha, right, sheyavo Abba v'yochal, that he just wants that his father should come. So it's going to be permitted. Afilu amar le Hen lefanecha sheyavo Abba v'yochal is going to be a sud. My tama, what's the reasoning? Because basically, since it's talking about a seudah, which the seudah was for the wedding, right? So a person is not going to be noheg in a seudah to other people that they're going to do whatever they want. So even if he didn't make this t'nai mefurash in the beginning, it's mochiach that yavo Abba v'yochal is a t'nai gamur. It's not just stama matana. It's like mamash. It's a condition, and therefore it's a haraman. It's not matana, right? Because again, the fact that he's actually, you already know this is all it's all a trick, right? There's nothing else with it. 1 second, right? 1 second, 1 second. Okay. So one more time. If this shita that he just brought down now was the fact that there's a seudah and the fact that you're telling him, right, that you want that your father should come to the seudah, it's as if it's harama automatically. Because even though you're not giving it to him on that condition, nobody's going to start inviting to a seudah without you. Nobody's going to invite to your wedding without you knowing that. You understand? I only did see that once. I remember that once we had a caterer that he went and he invited somebody, right? And he says, Zel cheshboni, right? Kilu, so when I told him, since when are you allowed to be mazmin? You're only the caterer. You're not the bala simcha. You're not the bala of the event. So for, what? Au Gavra the have lebrei, the have shamit. Au Gavra the have lebra, the have shamit kife de kitna. There was a person that his son would come and he would steal a gudot of pishtan. Why? So since the father came and he was so upset, right? That means the son was stealing. The father was so upset. He prohibited all his properties on the son. So they went and they told the father, what happens if you have the son of your son is a Tamil Chacham? What would you do? Would you have done that or not? He says, right? The chelek, which is going to be fitting for him, but not for himself, only, right? For the and therefore he's going to come and he's going to give it to his son, which is a Tamil Chacham. Okay, so basically that it was obviously, if it was the grandson was not a Tamil Chacham, right? So then the child did not acquire anything, right? But it was going to be to everybody else. But basically that means it was only in the condition that if the grandson was a Tamil Chacham, so it would go basically go down in order to go to. So does that work or not? Because basically it's like also kombina. Basically he's saying the son is going to get an inheritance, but it's not really the son, it's the grandson. But it's only on condition that the grandson is a Tzur Rabbanan. If he's not a Tzur Rabbanan, he doesn't get it either. So what happens exactly? Okay? So Amri the Tai. So the Chochmei Pupadita came and they said, Keni almenat leaknotu. This is the concept of Keni, acquire, almenat leaknot, on condition that you want to be makneh to somebody else. Vechol Keni almenat leaknot lo kani. Anybody that says acquire on condition, right, almenat leaknot to somebody else, lo kane. So here, right, in our case, it's also not going to be koneh, because basically, what are you saying? You're saying you're being makneh, you're being koneh on condition that it's not really you yourself. It's you're the catalyst, right? You're the middleman in order to come to get to the third party. So that doesn't help. Rav Nachman says, Kani, you do. Why? What is a sudar? Kinyan sudar is exactly that. What is kinyan sudar? You come, you take out a sudar, a handkerchief, you come, you say, take this, and now we're doing that. You're acquiring this to acquire something else, right? No. I know where that is. Yeah. So therefore, it's completely different. Okay. So then that's going to be the sudar. Okay. Fine. So kini almenat laknotu. Okay, and therefore it's the same thing. So Amar Ravashi comes and he says, Umar leimalan de sudra itafis lelomitpes. So who's the one that's going to tell you that by kinyan sudar, if you're going to grab it, right, it's not going to help. So remember, what is a kinyan sudar? I give to him something, but now by him acquiring that, he acquires something else. So it's the same thing. What's the difference between me giving it to you that you're going to acquire it for him, or me giving you a sudar and by giving you the sudar, you're going to acquire something else, right? And furthermore, Sudra, kanya min alaknotu, uknei min hashtan, you're going to acquire it from now. Halenik said then. So therefore, if it was going to be the properties to the father of the Avia ben Achote, when is he going to acquire it? Only when this grandson is going to be a rabbi, right? So hadar sudar lemare. So then hadar sudara lemare. So then it already goes back to sudar that they already did it, and not, that means the time of the kna'ah, the father of the thing was already chal. It wasn't kayam yet. So therefore, that's why en ben achote yachol liknot et nechasim to give it to his son, because basically, right now, right, what did he want to do? He wanted that his son should acquire it in order that his grandson should get it if he's a Tzruba Rabbanan. But right now, is the grandson a Tzruba Rabbanan? No. So that's why it doesn't work. Because what was the Sudar done right now? Right? That means basically like the same, this action. But if it's a regular Kinyan Sudar, I give him a Sudar, he takes it. Now he's going to acquire my ox or whatever it is. It's going to be done at the exact same time. So therefore, since it's going to be done at the exact same time, right? It's going to be the exact same time. So therefore, it's going to happen. Elmaleh Rava Rav Nachman. I'm finishing, and then you guys could ask all the questions that you want. Elmaleh Rava Rav Nachman says Rava to Rav Nachman. One second. What about the concept of the story? Our story in the Mishnah. What was the story in the Mishnah? Somebody had an isur for the father, right? And then what happened? All of a sudden, the father wants to come. So he wants the father to come. So he comes and he gives it to somebody else. That was a matana. That was a keni al minat laklot. I was giving it to him in order that he should give to my father kilu. So that's also the exact same case, right? The keni al minat laklotu velo kakani. We said that it doesn't work. So he says zimni namalei mishum desudato muchach. So he actually said. Sometimes he actually said it was because of the seudah that was muchachat alav. We already said that the entire purpose was that since the seudah is muchiach alav, it's a proof that this entire thing is just a trick. That's why it doesn't work. There's even the Elmaleh, but sometimes he used to answer him. It's Rabbi Eliezer. Damar afilu vitur asur b'mudarana. There's a machloket when you're going to be asur b'ana. What about being mevater? Vitur, is that considered mudarana or not? So, for example. Right? If I have a seudah here and I give you bread, you're benefiting from my bread. What happens if I don't give it to you? I just come and I see you come in. So I say, you know what? I'm vater. Just whoever wants to take it. So it's like a hefker or something like that. Right? So is that a problem or not? I didn't give it to him, but I was vater. Now he comes and he takes and he's enjoying himself. Yeah? Is that okay or not okay? So according to Shitat Rabbi Eliezer, vitur is asur b'mudarana. Meaning the fact that I'm going to forgo, that's also a surah in mudarana. Why? It's called ana. You could argue and you could say, obviously, it's not ana, but here we're saying, according to Shtat Rabbi Eliezer, it's considered ana. And the fact that vitur is also considered ana, that's why he said it's going to be a surah in the case of the bet choron that we said in the Mishnah. Okay? So now we're going to ask a question, right, on this shita of Rabbi Eliezer. Now we learned in the Mishnah, Amru Chachamim, Kol matana shena, right? We said that any matana that if you're going to consecrate it to the Bet HaMikdash, it's not considered, right? That if it's going to be if it's mekudeshet, it's going to be good, and if not, it's not a matana. What is kol latuyemai? What does the word kol come to include? When you say all, yeah, you with me? When you say all, what does that come to include? Kol latuyemai, lav latuya minta deshamit kipe. Are we not talking about that it's coming to exclude a case? Right? For example, the case of the story of the son. The son was coming and stealing the flax, which means wasn't that coming kol matana manat lakunot? It's not considered a matana, even to do with the kinyan, not only to do with nedarim. Meaning there's two things. Our Mishnah was talking about a neder. Here we're talking about even a kinyan, not only a neder. Right? What was our Mishnah? Our Mishnah was to do with the nedarim. Right? He made a neder. His father is a sud bana'ah to come and to benefit from the seudah. So okay, to do with the neder, this is the halacha. Okay, so any type of a matana, which you cannot come and give it over to Ekdesh, it's not considered a matana. Chazak u'baruch. What about linyan, right? The kinyan, not only just the neder, the actual kinyan in itself. So says the Gemara, no. It's coming to include the last lishna acharona of the words of Rava that we said, that basically a matanav seudat nisuin does not have tokef. Right? Not only is because he's saying in mefurash that he wanted it for the father to come, but even if he didn't say mefurash, the seudah is muchachat alav. Once the seudah is muchachat alav, right? So therefore, that's why it's not going to be good. But then it's like it's for sure that this is what you want. I mean, even though you're only saying it, I just want my father to be there in the seudah. you know that that's a condition, right? It's a suda which is muchachat. It's for sure. So he says, but if it's going to be to the kinyan be'alma, so therefore, even if he's not able to be magdish etzel hashamayim, be'emet it is going to be a good matana to do with the kinyan. Hadran alach hashutafin. So we just finished the perek of hashutafin.